What is up, everybody in Hashtag Nation? I am Mario Ganara from Hashtag Sports. As you know, today I was able to go to training camp, day two of Buffalo Bills training camp, and I was able to observe a lot of things firsthand. What's going on with the team? A lot of the suggestions that you guys told me to look out for, I definitely looked out for. But before we get into that, right below, you guys see right below my name. If you haven't already, please go follow us over on sportscaster.com/hate hashtag sports. We're going to be doing live broadcasts every Saturday at 8 a.m. And then when the season hits, we're going to be doing with Joe from Believers Talk. We're going to be going live and calling the game play by play, color commentary. So be sure you sign up for that. And be sure to give us a follow on Twitter also below my nice little screen here. But the other thing I wanted to do is before we get into any of the talk, I wanted to, Brandon and Tim, I was able to meet. I met Tim before, but I was able to meet Brandon today at camp. Always a good time to meet Hashtag Nation. I was a little bit worse for wear when I met Brandon because I was soaked. It was so hot outside. It was ridiculous. If you sat in the bleachers, you were just cooking. Oh, God. Is it going to work this time? Yeah, Paul, I believe so. I believe so. Um, we are multi-streaming, obviously, on a couple different platforms. We are on Sportscaster right now as well as Twitch and YouTube. So if you guys want to check out one of those, that would be great. Um, as far as the things that went from camp, you guys were telling me, I put that poll out. You guys were telling me to look for Allen, offensive line rotations. A couple of changes today, a couple of things going on with Allen that I thought was um, a little skeptical, as far as Allen goes. And I'll just jump right into, the talk with Allen and the notes that I was able to say, or that I was able to get today. I know it's going to sound a little weird, but Allen today he was sharp. He wasn't crisp. And what I mean by that, when I talk about Allen and his development and everything, his footwork was a little sloppy on certain plays. Notably so, the offensive line was getting a little bit beat up today, more than they were yesterday, and it was kind of tough for them to develop any type of consistency with the line because Hughes was just wreaking havoc all over the line. Like I said, Allen was pressured a lot. He had a lot of rollouts. He had a couple design rollouts, which was interesting to see. The one biggest thing that I noticed about Allen today and what he was doing was he was throwing to the backs a lot more, which was great. I mean, that's one of the things that we didn't see too much. A lot of times when Allen would get pressured last year, he would always keep his eyes downfield, which you want a quarterback to do. However, a lot of times he was missing some of the easy throws, easy checkdowns, easy dump offs, and if he's able to bring that to light this year, we're definitely going to see his completion percentage improve. We're going to see a lot of things going on. Paul Brooks said, I heard they were bringing the blitz today. They were. They were disguising a lot of things in front of Allen and trying to throw a bunch of stuff at him, which is what you want to see. I mean, the second day of install, you don't want to hit this guy with kid gloves. You want to try to bring as much at him as you can and try to throw everything at him so he can try to develop a different kind of routine when it comes to observing the blitz and observing everything else. Hey, Joe from Believers Talk comes in. What's up, Mario? What do you make of the drop passes today? Knox had a tough day. There were a couple passes that went off his hands. One went off his hands, and Dean Marlowe was able to pick it off. He didn't have really a good day of practice today. And the drops don't really concern me that much. A lot of times when you're trying to do install, guys have their heads going in about 45, 55 different directions. They can't let their athleticism shine. And that's one of the things that I observed with Knox today. Knox got a lot of burn today. He was able to he in one-on-one drills beat Poyer in one-on-one drills going deep. So that was very refreshing to see. It was kind of like an eye-opener real quick. And, I was standing on the sidelines when it happened, and a couple people, we just kind of looked at each other and we're like, whoa, that's pretty interesting, first of all. So, yeah, as far as Allen, it seemed that today when he was throwing over the middle, things were good. Things were good. He was sharp. He was sharp throwing over the middle. When he was trying to throw to the outside, he had Robert Foster at one time, and he got flushed out of the pocket by Hughes and tried to throw to Foster. And usually when you're throwing on the run, things are a little bit crazy anyway, but he was not sharp with his he wasn't crisp with his throw to Robert Foster. Where's Wineski? Paul actually has a singer in a acoustic band, so he actually is working tonight. So you guys just got me tonight. He wasn't at camp anyway. You don't want to know what Paul's got to say. That being said, a couple little like tidbits of information that are pretty funny that I thought stood out that I want to bring to you guys right away. When the defensive backs were going against the wide receivers, the D-backs had oven mitts on, and I tweeted it out a little bit earlier today. I thought it was absolutely hysterical. They want to try to get the defensive backs to work on their footwork a little bit more. So in that respect, it was so great to see it. It was really hysterical. You see all these defensive backs sitting out there with oven mitts on. Trey White was loving it. He was just eating it all up, and it was pretty hysterical to see. Thompson Cauley, I think this is one of your first comments. Thompson, welcome. How's it going? Mario, how was the running back play today? I'm just a Bills fan in South Georgia. Ooh, it's got to be tough down there with all those Falcons. The running back play was pretty good. It was pretty good today. They were catching a lot of passes out of the backfield. Frank Gore doesn't look like he aged a bit. McCoy was doing really well in the run game. Like I said, a lot of these guys were catching passes out of the backfield. Singletary especially was doing really, really well and catching passes out of the backfield and doing very, very well. Daniel Galleries comes in. Is Yeldon getting any touches? He got a couple today. He doesn't seem like he's getting a lot of burn with the camp. Obviously, we're only 2 days into it, so it's not something that I'm too concerned about it right now, but it could be something that kind of creeps up. Excuse me. That kind of creeps up eventually. He just didn't get many touches today, and it was mainly the rotation of Singletary, McCoy, and Gore the majority of the day. And as far as the line goes, I don't know if you guys probably read up on this before now, and the line had a little bit of a shift. Yesterday for day one, it was Dawkins, Spain, Morris, Feliciano, and Ford. Feliciano was taken out today, and the first team started with Long at right guard. A little bit of a twist, but the way that it was working was they were rotating Long into right and left guard today. So they were trying to get him a little bit of a rotation in there with Feliciano in Spain. Nasecki came in for Ford at right tackle. But the interesting thing about it was Dawkins did not have a good day. He was struggling a lot today with Hughes on that side. So they ended up putting Nasecki in at left tackle and then moving Ford back into right tackle at some point. Span did pretty good. Like I said, there was a lot of pressure on Josh Allen today, which is what you expect to see. If you think about it in these types of terms, the whole defensive line returned. All right, you got Phillips, Starr, Murphy, and Hughes. They returned. They're ready. You got a bunch of these guys you just brought in. 4 out of the 5 guys are new. So early on in camp, I expected the offensive line to struggle a little bit, which it's great because it gives Allen a little bit of time to try to maneuver around and manipulate the pocket. So, I mean, that's great as far as that goes. But Dawkins does not look very good starting off in camp the first 2 days. He seems like he's getting a little beat up. Thompson comes back in again. He said, wouldn't it be amazing if Singletary could turn into a poor man's McCaffrey? Oh, God. If we can get a guy like McCaffrey, I think that'd be great. Jonathan Provost, hey, how does Milano look? Is he practicing at full speed? He is definitely full speed. Another maniac that is practicing at full speed is Tremaine Edmonds. This guy, I severely underestimated how fast this kid is, and he is just going to get better with time. He's flying all over the field. He's disguising blitzes. He's disguising coverages. He's doing everything that you want your middle linebacker to do in this defense. He's communicating with everybody. Little things, but between the plays, right before the play starts, turning around, yelling to Hyde and Poyer, trying to talk to Lorenzo and Milano. He's doing everything you would want from a linebacker position, and it's just great. Believers Talk, Joe, come back in. Learn anything today that you didn't think you'd see going into today? Yeah, the one thing that was really interesting was during one of the times during practice, Dable had a walkie-talkie and was calling plays into Allen, which was very, very new. If any of you guys saw Ryan Lasel on with me yesterday, he followed him on Twitter. I wasn't kidding. He's going to update you and give you guys the best coverage of camp that you could possibly get. Updating you on what's going on, real time breakdowns of what they're doing at camp and everything. But yeah, Dable was calling plays in with Milwaukee, and it was interesting to see how that transferred over to the plays that were being run on the field. Yeah, run DMK 13, respect the process. I definitely do now. Allen is going to come out on fire. Like I said, like we mentioned yesterday, it can only help Allen in this offense to play against this defense, which is so good. I just hope that the defense, in beating up, quote unquote, I mean, for lack of a better term, for beating up this offense daily, is not going to hinder their development into trying to be even more top flight defense moving forward. Has Vosean Joseph seen any reps? I haven't seen him. I could have just missed it. I was looking at a bunch of different things today on every play, and you got to remember that when you're at Bills camp, you're restricted in the types of things that you're allowed to record. Like I got some really good shots you guys will see during the period when we were allowed to record and see certain things, and you guys will be seeing that this week on our episodes when I make the drive with Paul tomorrow. I'm going to try to sprinkle those in a little bit, but from the things that I was trying to watch and trying to get as fast as I could, and the notes that I was able to take, there were some things that were going on in there, and I just might have missed where he was. Monster Clubhouse. We talked a little bit about Yeldon earlier. I didn't see too much of him, maybe 1 or 2 reps when I was watching them in team. So that's Allen Fox 87. What's up? Allen's been doing very, very well. It's just like I said, his footwork is still there. We got to remember, with as high a praise and as the high at the bars we set for Allen and this quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, we have to remember this kid is still developing into a quarterback. There were a lot of things that he needed to improve on over the season or over the off season, and it seems like he improved a lot of things, and other things he still needs work at. He's only in his second season, so we got to figure out what's going on there. John Roberts, what's up, Mario? Are you still 11? What did I miss? Yeah, I'm still 11 from the comments from yesterday. What'd you miss? We talked a little about Allen, offensive line, defensive backs wearing oven mitts, the usual stuff. No lens over 6 inches hindered my wife's photography a bit. Her smaller, cheaper camera ran out of power, unfortunately. Yeah, Tim, for the times that I was trying to record, it was so hot outside that I couldn't, like my iPad would just shut off. And it was just unfortunate that happened. That happened a little bit today. Fox 87 comes in again. How's the wide receiver, running back, and tight end looking? Wide receivers look pretty good. Once again, they rolled with the 6 of Brown, Jones, Beasley, Roberts, Foster, and McLeod the majority of the day. Sills and Williams really didn't get a lot of burn. They performed pretty well in the one-on-one drills, and they were doing really fine with that. But for the most part, those were the guys that you were seeing a majority of the time. They're still trying to develop a lot of cohesiveness with Josh Allen. That's one of the things that I think they're going to try to do during this first week of camp. They're going to try to develop that little bit of that cohesiveness with Josh Allen. And the one thing that I saw that was really refreshing was Beasley, when Allen was in trouble, and he was under duress the majority of the day, is he was finding soft spots for Allen in the middle. And like I said, Allen thrown over the middle was really, really sharp today, but like I said, it wasn't crisp. And for those of you that are just joining the broadcast, I know this kind of sounds a little weird. Like I said, he was sharp but not crisp. When he had to make a throw, he made a throw. However, it wasn't in rhythm where you expect a quarterback to be that's in his 5th, 6th year. So as far as that goes, that's all right. Yes, Derek Robinson comes in. John Brown looking good. Eye of the moment. Hey, Mario, great to get these reports. Are they giving Dede every opportunity to fail, knowing Ty Nsekhe is right there waiting? Could Dede be a trade candidate even? P.S. I know it's only day 2 of training camp. Yeah, he was struggling a little bit. The thing you have to realize about Dawkins is that he's on a contract year. So I don't know if anyone will – I mean, and the Bills can negotiate him coming December 31st for his contract if they think he's the guy. By December, you should know if Dawkins is your franchise left tackle. If not, they do have Nsekhe there, who is 34 years old. However, he does not have a lot of mileage in the NFL. And Nsekhe as far as the embedded series goes, and I know I mentioned this before, Naseki seems like the offensive version of a Lorenzo Alexander, where he's like, the offense is really starved for leaders over there. And Naseki seems like he'll take up that mantle if you want to let him do that. He can play left tackle, he can play right tackle. He's communicating well with everyone out there. He's got some nastiness to him. So Dawkins really needs to know that his position could be on the line if he doesn't perform well. The other flip side of that is he has 4 other new guys with him, and he's going against Jerry Hughes. Not a lot of people can block Jerry Hughes. So if he's able to at least win 50% of the battles in camp against Jerry Hughes, then he can win a majority of battles of guys that are going on in throughout the rest of the league. Run DMK. Any progress on the receivers getting reps? Yeah, like I just said, the guys that we were talking about a lot before, Williams and Sills, they're not getting a lot of run. McLeod is getting a lot more run than I thought he would. He's performing pretty well in a lot of the situations that they put him in. Ronald Enix, he comes in. Have you seen Dawson Knox at all? Yes, I've seen him. He had a little trouble holding on to the ball today. Whatchamacallit. So as far as that goes, the other notes that I had taken today, the defensive line, the other thing that was kind of funny was the defensive line during one of the packages when they were going 11 on 11, Lawson actually dropped in coverage and knocked down a ball right in front of Ray McLeod and was jumping around, and everybody was going crazy for it. And it was very interesting to see the way that Frazier and McDermott have formed this defense and some of the things that they're going to try to do and try to implement. I don't advise, it's only a personal thing with me, I don't advise dropping a DE into coverage, but majority of the time you do that, you're doing that because you're blitzing the other side. And you need to have a guy who's a flat player. And if Lawson at that size can play the flat, either they're doing it because they want to make him a trade candidate with somebody else, or he's that athletic of a defensive end, and he's trying to prove that he can do everything for this ball club. Okay, did I see any reps for Tyree with the seconds? No, it was mainly just, Allen, they were mixing guys in all the time, and Allen was in there with Barkley a majority of the day. So that's what was going on as far as that goes. As many of you may have heard, Kroom did not practice today. He had something going on with a hamstring, so he was out today. So that gave Sweeney a couple more reps in there. Dari says Sweeney. Sweeney was ended up taking. He took that role for Kroom. Is Waddle getting any first team reps? Adventures with Dan. I didn't see him. Very much today. And the time that I did see him, he was getting bowled over by a couple of the defensive tackles in there. So I don't know what's going to happen with Waddle. He seems like a guy who has endeared himself to the community here in Buffalo. However, that doesn't get you a roster spot. So I'm not really sure. It didn't seem like he was getting a lot of burn, and the burn that he did get, it didn't seem like he was very effective in what he was doing. Mikey Mike coming in. How did Singletary look? And Singletary looked pretty fresh. He was catching the ball well out of the backfield. He was hitting the hole hard. There were a lot of things that were going on in the rotation, so he was actually doing very, very well. And another thing that really surprised me, if we're talking about running backs, like I said before, Gore looked so sharp today. He dropped a pass. He's not really known as a receiving back, although he can catch the ball, but it wasn't one of those things where, all right, he looks so fresh out there, and he's doing really well. Skipping the tub rat. Hey Mario, given the issues we had defending against the run in 2018, how did the defense look against the run? That defense is swarming, and they're doing advanced blitz, disguise, coverage packages on day 2 of install. So they're communicating at a level that seems almost like mid-season. Oliver looked pretty sharp in the times that he was in there. He was battling, but then again, you got to remember these guys don't have pads on; they're only wearing helmets. So you got to take that with a grain of salt of what's going on and how easy they're able to get off the ball and things that they're able to do until the pads come on. Yeah, John Roberts. That's pretty much how it goes. Jonathan Probst, I heard we played a lot of red zone today. Yeah, they ended up going down into the red zone. Allen looked pretty sharp in some of the red zone opportunities that they had. He missed a couple guys, notably so. But with this defense, like I said, it always goes back to when you're playing against this defense, and this defense is almost head and shoulders above what the offense is as far as communication, cohesiveness, chemistry, all that stuff included. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for this offense. But the flip side of that is playing against this defense as much as they're going to play against it, which is going to be one of the toughest defenses in the league projected. I want to say projected because I don't want to get too far ahead of myself as my Buffalo Bills fandom goes. But projected, they're supposed to be a very elite defense. If they're able to find cracks and move the ball against an elite defense in practice daily, now, like I said, they're not always going to be going one-on-ones during the season. But in camp, if they're able to develop some kind of rhythm, some kind of consistency, then they're going to do very well. They're going to do very well against any team in this league because not every team has a top 5 defense. Gore should look fresh today. It's day 2. How will he look in the last quarter of the season? Daniel, it's interesting you say that because a lot of teams recently have been going to a 3-back rotation. If you look at a lot of successful football teams in the league, obviously the Patriots are one of the ones that do it very, very well, is they rotate so many running backs in that keeps those guys fresh when it comes November, December, and January. So that being said, when you got McCoy as a volume runner, you got Singletary as a volume runner, you got Gore as a volume runner, when those guys end up getting their opportunities, they're going to be fresher when it comes later in the season. Although I will agree with you, Daniel, that is a concern of mine is Gore near the end of the year, but he looks very spry in day 2, and as he should be. Elliot Eisner, iron sharpens iron. Team McBean. I like it. Ryan Robert, I think it's your first comment, Ryan. Welcome to hashtag. Do you still think the Bills will keep 6 wide receivers or possibly 7? Well, that seems like to be the big question, right? The Bills kept a number of running backs last year because some of them played special teams. Now, if you look at the running backs currently that they have, I think Yeldon and maybe Murphy are probably the only guys that would play, or DeMarco. I guess if you want to count DeMarco as a running back, he is. But those guys played special teams from last year. Those guys played special teams. You had more special teams players in the running back position. But now you have McCoy, Gore, and Singletary. I don't think any of those 3 are going to be playing special teams at all, truth be told. So what does that mean? That means you got to make up those special teams positions elsewhere. Do you make them up with the defensive backs? Do you make it up with you add a couple linebackers? You keep a couple linebackers more than you wanted to during the season. We have to realize that this Bills team last year, when they were just trying to find their way, a couple games they only suited up 4 wide receivers. So that being said, you look at some of the wide receivers, the 6 that they have that they've been going around consistently in camp right now. You got Brown, Jones, Beasley, Roberts, Foster, and McLeod. Of those guys, I think Foster, Roberts, and McLeod are the only ones that are going to play special teams. From my viewpoint, I mean, I could be wrong. That's fine. So, if you only got 3, if your running back committee and if they keep Yeldon, I'm just saying, if your running back committee has 4 and your wide receiver committee has 6, and only 4 of them are playing special teams, you're going to have to make up those positions in some other way. And I don't know if they may carry 7 just for a special teams guy if they happen to get rid of Yeldon and they're like, listen, we're going to go into the season, we're going to have a 3-headed monster in the backfield of Gore, McCoy, and Singletary. And that's what we're going to go with. And we're going to have to add an extra wide receiver to play special teams to try to circumvent what's going on with the running back position. The moment. Interesting how you said offense needs more leadership. Do you think Mitch Morse could be that guy? I think he's absolutely that guy. I apologize that I missed him. When I was going through the team, I mean, if you looked at the team from last year over to this year, that's why I was thinking of the team from last year with the leaders that they really didn't have. Mitch Morse is one of those guys you want to come. He has to quarterback, quote unquote, that offensive line and get them where they need to go. That's a great point. I think along with him, if you want to talk about a guy in the defensive front, you talk about a guy like Star Lotulelei, and then if you wanted to just compare offense and defense, if I could just for a second, if you want to talk about who's going to quarterback that defensive line, well, it's going to be Star Lotulelei. Who's going to quarterback the defense? That's Tremaine Edmonds. And then you also have a leader in Lorenzo Alexander. If you flip that over to the offensive side of the ball, Mitch Morse is going to quarterback that offensive line. Josh Allen is the quarterback of your offense, and Ty Nsekhe is like that Lorenzo Alexander role that comes in to try to, coach guys up and or offer some experience to the younger guys. That is a great point, though. I can't believe I forgot about Mitch Morse. He's been playing pretty well too. The one thing that I wanted to, before I get to any more questions, and I love that you guys are flying in here, be sure to give me a follow down here, #sports on Twitter, and guys, we're going to be doing live broadcasts coming up when the Bills play. Joe from Believers Talk is going to join Paul and myself. We're going to be doing play-by-play and color commentary. If you like our shows on throughout the week with the Sunday Drive and whatnot, you're going to love the play-by-play. We're going to try to make it entertaining for you. Be sure you sign up and become a fan on Sportscaster. It's right below me. Just go there. It takes a couple minutes just to log in, a couple seconds just to log in and sign up and become a fan. It'd be awesome. The other thing that I wanted to go to, and before I get to this, let me apologize for the graphic. I got this new design pad here. I was trying it out, and it's one of the, okay, all right. I'm still live, guys. I don't know what's going on with the broadcasting system that I have. It's right back in. Quick while the video is down, loot everything in sight. One of the things that happens when we have these broadcasts is that at a certain time it happens to reboot itself. And as far as that goes, it happens all the time. Like I was telling everybody, if you happen to miss it, it reboots itself. And that's one of the things that I haven't figured out yet. Otherwise, I have everything good to go. But getting back to what I was talking about, this play diagram that they had, which I love because, I don't know, maybe because of my quarterback background or anything like this, so don't hammer me too much on it. But the play that they had in camp today, I know it's a 7-year-old Druid, so you guys can hammer me later about it. But if you look at it, if you're looking left to right, they had a 2 tight end set. They had Sweeney and Knox in the game, and I believe they had Brown and Beasley. Beasley's in the slot on your right-hand side. On the left, they had Knox, and then they had Sweeney on the line. The great part about this play, other than the diagram itself, and I will get to those, what they did was they motioned the tight end in. One of the reasons why you use motion in any kind of offense that you use, if you have a young quarterback, it's to try to get a read on what the defense is playing. Now, if they're crowding the line and that tight end happens to move in and that that cornerback on that side does not completely cover him, then you know it's going to be a zone play. If he does go to cover him, then you got a man coverage. So the greatest part of, and then going to the routes, what I like is that you got a little bit of a tight end hookup. You get a quick hitter there if they are in zone. You have the tight end that's on the line running straight down the seam to occupy the safety. You have a wide receiver, which is Beasley, running a quick drag over the middle. And then you have Brown running a dig at about 12 to 15 yards over on the right. So that was one of the things that I had seen today. One of the formations that I had seen, they went 12 personnel, which is 1 running back, 2 tight ends, and they're starting to mix up a lot of different formations, which if you have a lot of formations in your offense, that takes the defensive coordinator of the opponent that week that much longer to game plan against you. So you can obviously just run a little bit more things of your system in there. And I think that's one of the things that Daboll's trying to do. He's trying to run the same play out of multiple sets to try to see if he gets different looks for Josh Allen in this offense. So I need a full 12 set. I have the moment. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Tim Ellington. Yeah, I'm back. By the way, any chance of merch with the new #sports logo? I'm thinking it would look awesome on a hat or shirt or something. Yeah, we are actually going to be releasing sometime during the season. We're going to start small, obviously. We're just Paul and myself. So we're going to be releasing some merch with hashtag, And if you guys are up to it, Paul and I have been very adamant about the fact that we don't want. That's why we haven't come up with a account for you guys to pay for anything. All of the income that we get comes from YouTube and the advertisements and the things that you have to wait 5 seconds to skip at the beginning of the video, and we're sorry about that. But in order for us to produce content, we don't want it to come from you guys. We want it to come from the advertisement from YouTube, and that's one of the things that we're going to have. So, some money for Pettergraph. Elliot, what are you doing? I would buy an embroidered hat. I think I would too. That would be pretty sweet. Who's the candidate? Oh, JJ Pollock. What's up? Who's the candidate to be a surprise cut? I don't think he's a surprise cut. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I think DeMarco is going to get cut. I think if you had to pick a guy who's going to be a surprise cut that was brought in, I honestly can't. Foster keeps coming up in my head, but I don't think that Foster is a guy that's Dayball, yeah. Yarborough is a guy who has a lot of experience in this. Skippy the Tub Red comes in. He says Yarborough. He's a guy that has a lot of experience in this defense, and he's a really good role player in there for you. And because they play such a rotational defensive front, he's a guy that. What do you gain by cutting him? He's on a very controllable deal. So in that respect, he's one of those guys that can work in the rotation there. Daniel Garvey's comes in and says Kroom. Well, I can't speak for the Pagulas or anything, but isn't he dating Pagula's daughter? So I don't know. I don't know about that one. No Mo Screen. Foster is the best receiver we got. Yeah, I understand. I'm very high on Foster. I like what he brings to the table. However, the first 2 days of camp are any indication of what they're planning on doing with him. It doesn't seem like one of those things where he's a top flight guy that they're looking to showcase. They've been working primarily when they go into 3 wide receiver sets. They've been working with Jones, they've been working with Beasley, and working with Brown. And Foster's kind of been a little bit of an afterthought in this offense. So I don't know what they're doing with him. But like I said, that's why it would be a surprise cut to me. I wouldn't cut him, but that's what it would surprise me if that happened. Jonathan Provis, Vlad Dukas cut. I think he's going to be gone. He'll be gone. Garvey's, yeah, that's amazing. That's a great point, Daniel. That's why I'd be surprised if Kroom got cut because he's dating the daughter. It's not Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, dude. What are we doing? So I think if you guys, I just want to tell you, like I said, go down there, follow on. We got a webpage too. I don't know if you guys know that. It's right down here. I don't know if you guys have been to our webpage. A lot of it is our videos, but we do have some articles on there. Yes, we can put pen to paper or key to Microsoft Word if that's what you're thinking of. So yeah, give us a follow on Twitter. Give us a follow on Sportscaster. We're going to be broadcasting games throughout the whole season. Tomorrow I will be in the car with Paul, driving around, giving you guys episodes. So tonight I will definitely put another post in the community tab to tell you guys what do you want us to talk about? What do you want us to see? I know a lot of our episodes. I'll just prepare you right now. A lot of the episodes that we're going to be releasing this week are kind of like some of the things that we did last week with the Dinner for Six, or if we could do a rapid fire segment for you guys. But a lot of those are going to be also the JP Lossman. What if they never drafted Lossman? Because camp is flying and how it's moving so fast, and all the other things that are going on with camp. If we cut an episode on Saturday and then all of a sudden that guy gets cut on Sunday, or something happens with them, it's like just a waste of our time. So a lot of the things that we're going to be doing this week are kind of like what ifs and or things of that nature. So what? So guys, I wanted to thank you for joining me for camp breakdown of day 2. It was great to be out there. It was great to see #Nation out there. And like I said, some of the things that I talked about earlier in the broadcast with Allen, the offensive line, the defensive line, offensive backs. Elliot Eisler, are you doing this again tomorrow? I'll try to do it tomorrow. I will try. I'll try to get on if I get enough information and feedback of what's going on at camp from Laisel. That's another guy you got to follow. If you guys haven't seen the broadcast from yesterday, give Ryan Laisel at Rock Sports Network a call. It will blow up your timeline on Twitter. However, you're going to get all updates, Bills related at camp. Like I said, just wanted to tell you guys, give us a follow down at Sportscaster, give us a follow on Twitter, check out our website. Merch is coming, episodes are coming. Day 2 of Buffalo Bills camp has wrapped up. So I want to thank you for joining me tonight, and go Bills.